rotten scoundrels, and welcome to the inaugural episode of Rough Start, where we here at Rough Magic Games teach you how to play different tabletop role-playing games every episode. That's right, we run through it so you don't have a rough start. My name is Charlotte, I use she, her pronouns, and I am a professional GM with Rough Magic Games, a collection of other professional GMs for hire. If you're interested in playing a game with one of our GMs, be sure to check out roughmagicgames.com. If you already know who we are and love what we do, check out our Patreon. The link is in the description, which is somewhere. I lost my place. That's okay. The nice thing about it being pre-recorded is we can just cut shit out. I love exploring the wide world of pen and paper role-playing games, and I can't wait to take you all on this journey. With me tonight is...
Oh my gosh, you said with me tonight. My name is she, her pronouns. I am a professional GM with Rough Magic as well as an ELA writing teacher in Chicago Public Schools. I'm also a lover of stories, consider myself a baby storyteller. So if you want to find me, you can find me at AJ and Stories on Instagram. That's the only one I really care about.
Love it. Amazing. AJ, you've been playing any good games lately?
Wow. So I've been playing Baldur's Gate. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Like every other nerd in this world. I've started over twice, but I'm playing with like different people, so it makes me feel better about myself. Outside of that, I'm an avid Sims player. I believe that the Sims are dolls for grown-ups. So absolutely I'm playing the Sims. And outside of that, playing some D&D once a week, every Saturday, with some lovely, lovely individuals. I will call them out, but they know who they are. Love y'all.
Amazing. All those games are amazing. I've played a little bit of Baldur's Gate 3. I've played a lot of The Sims, and I've played quite a fair bit of D&D as well. Uh, so that all sounds fantastic. But tonight we are not talking about any of those games.
Nope.
Tonight we are going to be talking about Blades in the Dark. And I'm very excited because I love Blades in the Dark. It is written by John Harper and published by Evil Hat Games. And to quote the Blades in the Dark website, Blades in the Dark is a tabletop role playing game about a crew of daring scoundrels seeking their fortunes on the haunted streets of an industrial fantasy city. There are heists, chases, occult mysteries, dangerous bargains, bloody skirmishes, and above all, riches to be had if you're bold enough to seize them. Doesn't that sound great?
That's great. It sounds great. It's even better when you play it.
Yeah, so I've played a little bit of Blades in the Dark, a little kind of a mini campaign that my friends and I were going through, and I understand that you've played a little bit of Blades as well, AJ.
So I had the opportunity with Rough Magic to actually be a part of a stream of Blades
A
in the Dark.
stream.
Yes, a
Whoa.
stream, Charlotte.
A
It
stream
was
that
this
is perhaps airing sometime soon on this channel. Ooh, that people could
mm,
watch.
yeah, I believe so. I believe so. That was my first encounter with Blades in the Dark, but our GM made it extremely easy to gather and to understand. We'll talk about that more a little bit later, but yeah, the game went from a game I had never played to a game that made so much sense. It
Mm.
involves so much fun and collaboration, and I really enjoyed that opportunity to get to play. I had really fantastic individuals I was playing with. I'm not gonna give it away. You will see it
Yeah, no
when you
spoilers.
watch the stream.
I mean, a good GM can just change everything, right? And like just
Exactly.
synthesizing the rules and making it all work. Life changing. And hopefully we can play a little bit of that role of synthesizing the rules tonight.
Okay.
Because not to scare anyone, but Blades in the Dark can be a little mechanically challenging sometimes. There are a lot of
Mhm.
moving pieces. So we are going to talk about those pieces, but first I'd like to talk about the lore of Blades in the Dark a little bit to give you kind of like a little amuse bouche of what the heck is going on in this setting because it's freaky, it's weird, it's great. So Blades in the Dark is, I guess, like kind of steampunk industrial fantasy.
Definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just these group of individuals who are not that they're not trapped. I almost said trapped. This is not D&D. They live in one area, and in that particular area, as I already stated, there are various challenges that they have to overcome. Some of them being more in the supernatural realm, some of them being more in the material as we know it type of place. It is very much industrial, very much steampunky, very much dealing with technologies and guns sometimes, and it has a lot of slyness involved with it. It's everything is not uh we'll talk about it a little bit later, but everything's not just, oh, I'm gonna roll a dice and this is gonna be an answer. That's not how
Yeah.
it works. This game works at all,
Nothing
and it
nothing is what it seems.
at all.
Uh,
So yeah.
not in the
Yeah.
yeah. It takes place in the city of Duskwall, or Duskval. There are two different spellings of it. That's the map that we've got up on the screen for you right now. Um, just this effed up, bizarre city in a bizarre world. Basically, everything is messed up. There was a cataclysmic event that broke the sun. It broke the world. It broke the afterlife. So there are ghosts roaming around everywhere. The city of Duskwall is safe from many of those factors, though, because they have lightning barriers around the city that protect them from the ghosts and all of the bad stuff that is outside the walls of the city. So the citizens of Duskwall are quite thankful for the lightning barriers. Beyond that, it is a city of vast economic disparity. There are neighborhoods that are, rolling around in luxury and riches, and there are people who, are living in rags. And the scoundrels that the characters play are more often in the rags portion of that society. And because otherwise, you wouldn't have anything to kind of aim for. You want the riches, you want the luxury. You got to start you got to start in the slums of Duskwall first.
Very true. Very, very
Yeah.
true.
Anything else you want to add about the lore of Duskwall?
Um, the interesting part, no, I will say no because I feel like a lot of the lore steeps into the characters and other
Mm,
mechanics of the game. So no,
that
not outside of that. Yeah.
that is true. A big part of the game is kind of building the world out together through your characters and through NPCs that you know. So we will let sleeping dogs lie for now, and kind of jump into the basic mechanics of the game. Ooh, nice scene transition. Whoa. Um, we will get to that in a little bit. First, we're going to talk about the conversation. Um, so, e- every role playing game is a conversation, right?
Most definitely.
Uh, yeah. Blades in the Dark is a little bit more of a conversation than some other games I've found. There can be a lot of like back and forth between the player and the GM about what is happening, what are the consequences of an action.
Mhm.
Um, did you find that to be true when you were playing as well?
Absolutely. There was a big push, and you'll hear it through the stream, is that this conversation of this is not D&D. This is
Mm-hmm.
Blades in the Dark. And so Blades in the Dark forces everyone to work together. It's like an extremely collaborative conversational game. So if I make a choice to do something, somebody can jump in and help, somebody can be a part of that, others can be against that. It all depends on what is happening. Conversation amongst group is important. Conversation with your GM is important. The GM sets some of these bars, which we'll talk about later, for us to either overcome or not overcome. and we have to be in constant communication. It's an opportunity for those players who are like, I don't like what my GM did. I feel like I should be able to do this. This is that game. Like you can actually plead your case for why you
Yeah,
feel like you should be able to do XYZ. It's
pitch something
extremely
and see what
conversational.
happens.
Essentially, it's like it's that opportunity for you to explore your character the way you want it to create this character in relationship to how others wanted to create their character. So it's a yes, conversation is the primary piece of this game. Without conversation, this game is dead. So
Beautiful.
yeah,
Love that. Well, to jump right into it, what the heck is the main mechanic of this game? What dice do you roll?
6. Lot of D6s. Yeah, it's a lot of D6s. Essentially, you look at the highest thing you can roll is a 6. And you want sixes all the time. You got critical successes, and then you in the middle, you have those partial successes. And then underneath that, you have your failures. Nothing is fully just left out in the blue. If you roll a 1 to 3, that's a failure, and it's definitely going to come with some type of consequence, which I'm sure that Charlotte's going to talk to y'all about as well. Roll in the middle, got that 4 to 5. You're dealing with a partial success, which means you're succeeding. Good job, but will be consequences for that success. And then a 6 or higher, it depends. If you have more than one dice that you're rolling, and then you have more than one 6, that's a critical success. Awesome. It's a bad point, but if you have at least one 6, you have a success. And that's always fun to listen to like the GM kind of tell you what's gonna happen because of that
Yeah.
success. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly right. We are rolling a certain number of d6s depending on certain factors, and then normally you take the single highest result. But if you get two sixes, that's a crit, and good stuff happens on that. Um, important a note also: if you ever need to roll, but you for some reason have zero dice, like if you're not trained in a skill, then you roll two dice, but you take the worst of the rolls. So kind of like disadvantage in D&D for that like touch point. But yeah, 2d6, take the worst one, or take you could roll probably up to 4 or 5 d6s
Yeah,
sometimes, and
especially
then
when you
take
level
the
up in the game.
yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. There are lots of different roles in the game as well. Most often, people will be rolling what's called the action roll, which is where you have like an attribute and a trait, and you're rolling to do something with those traits.
Mhm.
But there are also rolls that you make during your downtime actions, which we'll get into later. There are resistance rolls and fortune rolls too, which we're going to talk about all that a little bit later. But just kind of planting those seeds for now that there are a lot of reasons why you might roll dice in this game.
Yep.
um, ooh, and now we get to talk about what's on the slide, which we're talking about position and effect, which is like the second half of dice rolls. This is something that the GM sets. Um, the position is controlled, risky, or wait, what is it? Hold on. Controlled, risky, desperate. There we go. Like I said, there's a lot of moving parts in this game. Um, Give me one moment. I'm lost. Looking at my notes. I'm so fucking glad this is pre-recorded.
Looking at the notes while you look at those notes like, "Oh, no."
Yeah. Oh shit. Also, all the
Yeah, but
cussing
not
can get
again.
removed. I think the rule on Twitch is that like cussing within the first
First
10
minute.
minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes. Is it
Yeah.
10 minutes? Ooh,
Yeah.
God. I thought it was the first minute.
Yeah.
What? 10 minutes? Nah, we're so good. Oh, no.
Okay. Whoop.
He blanked out. Now we're back.
Oh, we're back. All right. Beautiful. Okay. Um, I am ready to jump back into it. I will do a clap for anyone editing can look at the audio spike and see that we're back in it, I guess. So, talking about position, the three positions that are in the game are controlled, risky, and desperate. With the controlled position, this is all about what position your characters find themselves in. So, with controlled, they're golden. They're good to go. They've got a great opportunity, an advantage of some kind. They're just set up for success. It's a controlled situation. Um, for risky, this is the most common position in the game. There's a chance to get ahead, but you're kind of acting under duress. There is an issue happening, something is around you that might
Mhm.
affect your chances of success. And desperate is desperate, serious trouble, overreaching, attempting something very dangerous. So the GM will set the position before you make your roll, tell you, hey, it's risky, or oh, it's gonna be desperate. This seems like a bad
Mhm.
situation you find yourself in.
Yeah. This is not the place to have that fun discussion. I know I said that beforehand. Uh, this is GM control. But it's actually what makes the game quite entertaining. It continues that conversation between GM and player as you explain what it is as the player that you are trying to do. Um, you as the player are also saying, I want to roll uh like a consort role. I want to roll a study role. I'm doing this. And so because of that, this is the role I want to roll. And based on what you say, this is where that GM says, well, this is what's going on around you. And so if this is what's going on around you, this is the situation that you
Hmm.
put yourself in.
It's like, do you really want to do that, or would you like to reconsider?
Yeah, my GM was. You'll see. My GM was kind of like, "Oh, we're doing this. You chose
You
this.
said it,
Let's go."
so now it's true. The other half of what the GM decides is effect. And we have that beautiful, lovely transition to the next slide. The effect is what would happen if you succeed. So great effect is you achieve more than usual.
Mhm.
It's great. You did an awesome job. Good job. Standard is once again the most often used effect in the game. So most often you're going to be rolling risky and standard.
Mhm.
This is just what you achieve, what you expected to achieve. And then limited is, even on a success, the effect is not as strong as you would have liked it to be. We touched on this a little bit earlier, but there are ways to get more dice to roll as well. Um, Whoops. Oh god, I'm pressing too many buttons. There we go. Okay, sorry. Let's take that again. Uh, we touched on this earlier, but there are more ways to get more dice as well.
Mm.
Um, what are some of those ways?
You can get a bonus if your teammates help you. So
Mm.
if you are going through the situation and for the most part you gotta be reasonable, my apologies, about this. If your teammate is there with you, we on this heist, we were doing a heist. So if your teammate is with you, then they may say, oh, I help out in this way. And if the GM is like, yeah, that makes sense. You can get this extra die. You can put yourself and like oh man, what's the name of it? It's a push. So there's
Yeah.
this like I'm going to push myself even harder to achieve this goal. Now that could have some dire consequences as well. Um, one more thing I forgot to mention that if your teammate does help you, they put themselves in a situation called stress, which we will talk about later on. But sometimes it's beneficial. So yes, you can push yourself, or you can get that extra die from a teammate. You can also make a bargain with a devil. That's a whole
Ooh.
nother thing. That's for advanced players. We did not.
Oh,
Oh,
well, then I can speak on that a little bit because I've been party to a devil's bargain before.
oh my gosh.
Um, yes, well, a devil's bargain is something the GM offers the player for another die to roll, and it's not always great. It's normally a consequence of your actions. And the important thing about the devil's bargain is, yes, it gives you an extra die, but the devil's bargain, whatever it is, always happens no matter what. Even on a success or a failure, that devil's bargain is going through. So you want to pick your bargains carefully. But it adds another layer of ooh, the I mean, you're daring scoundrels. Of course you're gonna bargain, right? You
That's
you
real.
you gotta keep going.
Oh my gosh. I was just thinking of the game and I'm like, we should have made a bargain.
There's always next time, right?
Always next time.
Ah, I honestly I can't wait to watch it. I'm so excited for it to drop.
Whew. Oh my god. We have to keep going. We have to keep going.
Ah. All right. We are going to blaze on through to action ratings and attributes, which is the final piece of, what you will actually be rolling when you roll dice. You're rolling your action ratings. So, like any good game, you've got stats, you've got traits that you're good at and that you're bad at. Um, I believe the well, hold on, how do I want to say this? So you've got attributes, which are insight, prowess, and resolve, um, kind of like your stats in D&D. And then you've got all of your traits, um, which are attune, command, consort, finesse, hunt, prowl, skirmish, study, survey, sway, tinker, wreck. I think we've got a slide for that in there somewhere, but I'm not going to try to look for it. Um, So basically, when you are rolling an action roll, you are taking however many pips you see that have filled in on your character sheet, and you're rolling that many dice.
Mhm.
So easy peasy. So, like in this example, there's 2 pips in skirmish, so you would roll 2 dice. I think if we want to hit the next slide, we've got another example, or the next slide after that.
This is my slide dance.
Whoa! Oh no, wait, no. Oh, I must have. Well, no worries. We can cut all that shit out. Mhm. Oop.
It's in
Let's
the
disable that.
uh
Is that in voice
is
and
it in
video?
voice setting? Where
Crisp?
where
Noise suppression? I want none. Give me standard.
where did you find that at?
Voice and video.
Voice
It's way scroll down to
settings
the bottom.
at the bottom? Um,
There's like a
I
purple
really
logo
don't
for
know that.
crisp, KRISP. It's under noise suppression.
I don't even think I'm so sorry. I don't know if I have that. I only have in this call. I have mute on the microphone. How did it appear to you, Charlotte?
Like what Molly just said.
So
Posted in
it's
the
in
chat.
posted
It's
in the
right next
chat.
to your little hang up button to the to your left of that.
I have default default voice activity and push to talk. I don't have it. I'm sorry. I don't know how to do it. I can change my video background. It's not in the settings. I wish I knew. I'm sorry. No one will hear my good laugh.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Yeah, no worries. Did I give you a screenshot of all of the different action ratings, all the traits, or did I forget that? That's cool. We can talk a little bit about the traits, I think. Um, or I don't know, they're
And
pretty straightforward.
am I supposed to press standard or none?
I did standard.
Standard is done. I did it.
Yay! Nice job.
Where's this country at? I'm ready for deadlines. Oh, thank you for that. I didn't know. Now my laugh is contagious.
There we go. As it should be. As it should be.
Oh man,
Are you kidding me? Uh, well, sorry to whoever's gonna edit this for
they
making
got
her
no
work.
laugh.
Uh, it's okay. Editor's note, we're not insane, we're just talking to Molly.
Hmm?
Okay. No, okay, sorry. She's not here, she's a ghost. Alright, where the hell are we gonna jump back in? Um,
Attributes.
at
Rolling dice.
roll. Okay, hold on. Give me 2 seconds.
It's fine with me.
I've screenshotted my screen, and I'm gonna send you a picture, Molly, on Discord. Alright, I've done it.
So, look at that. Let the stay open. Just a heads up, I do not remember what free play is. So,
Just normal, like, talking to people, doing shit, like, before the heist, basically.
gotcha. Okay.
Normal role play
Yeah,
stuff, basically. You only role play abnormally, it's true.
I respect it. I respect that.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, alright. Should I bother clapping? Okay, I did turn it off, so we're gonna give it a shot. Alright, are you guys ready to hop in again?
Yep. Let's do it.
Beautiful. Alright, and next we're going to take a look at the action ratings in the game. All right. So we've got these are all pretty straightforward. So we're gonna just kind of go through them real quickly. Attune, which is speaking with spirits and kind of attuning to the afterlife. Command, consort, finesse, which is like pickpocketing. Um, hunt, prowl, skirmish, study, survey, sway, tinker, and wreck. So these are all the things that you're going to be rolling in the game for your action rating. In the middle of your heist, you're like, "Ooh, I want to scale up the building using prowl." And then
Mhm.
the GM will go, "All right, well, that's going to be a risky standard, and go ahead and roll."
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, definitely. An important note, something that's a little different about blades is that I feel like normally if you're playing D&D, you kind of pitch what's going to happen, and then the GM says, "Okay, make a nature check," or "Okay,
Mhm.
do a stealth check." In Blades, you're actually pitching what ability you want to use, so you can play to your
Exactly.
strengths 100%.
Yeah, it's almost encouraged that you play to your strength. And we can talk about that when we get to character creation. But yeah, it's extremely encouraged that you play to the strengths that you have. That way you're not like stepping on the toes of any of your other collaborators in this story that you are telling. Like you have a character, you have a character created for a reason. Work that character that you
Work it.
created. Yes, to the best of your ability. So yeah,
Perfect. We are going to slide right along to harm. And then resisting that harm. AJ, did your character get messed up at all during the game? No spoilers, but
not as bad. Uh That's what I'll say. Not as bad as, what I feel others got.
so you got lucky.
Oh, yeah. I played a spider. I'm always lucky.
Oh, wow, I love that for you. Uh, Harm works in interesting ways. So you've got lesser harm, moderate harm, and severe harm. As you can see in our handy dandy little graphic there, you've got 2 spots for level 1 harm, 2 spots for level 2, and then only 1 spot for level 3. And each of those has a different effect. So like you would have a lessened effect if you're hurt, or you even can have less dice to roll. And all of those compound as well. Taking harm is a way that your character can die in Blades. It sounds pretty obvious, but worth noting. I'm not going to
Right.
ask if anyone died in the game because that seems like,
They'll just have to find that out.
yeah, I'll just have to find out. Important to note. So like this graphic says, the mechanics follow the fiction. So you don't have to go in order one, two, three. If you have a shattered right leg and you have a level 3 harm open, that sounds like level 3 harm. That sounds pretty bad.
Mm,
So you can skip that level 2 harm and go right up to level 3.
yeah.
Um, Important to note that if you would, since there's only 1 spot in level 3, if you would take a level 3 harm and you have something already filled in there, that becomes like catastrophic harm. That means that's a situation where your character might die.
Yeah. Sad, but it can happen.
Sad but true. Um, how can you avoid harm? I'm guessing your characters did a little bit of that in the game.
Be a spider. Um, uh, uh, honestly, I almost want to say don't. I feel like there's a safe way to play a game, right? You can play it safe and be like, I don't want my character to die. Sure. But I feel like that defeats story.
Mhm.
So yeah, you could avoid talking to like the mob boss in a room full of 40 mobsters, all of them holding AKs at you. You could do that. You can avoid that. Or you can walk straight into that situation, roll check, and see what happens. And yes, there are ways to essentially there are ways to avoid everything. There are. You can use any of your other attributes to talk your way out of a situation, move your way out of a situation, duck and dodge out of a situation. You can use other things to prevent you from even getting into like one of like the story I just said, the idea I just said. You can prevent that by using some of your other skills and attributes. But there's nothing stopping human interaction. So essentially, expect that there's going to be at least basic level harm that's going to come to you, a level one. Like expect it. That's part of this game in a way.
Something that fucks you up.
Yeah, have fun, take risks.
Take
It's a
risks, get
part of the game.
messy.
Yes,
I
there are
think
ways to play, but
the mantra of rough the
yeah. Rough start.
mon the mantra of rough start should be yeah, take risks, get in there,
Get messy. Yes, take
get
risks. I like
messy.
it.
But say that, that level 3 or even level 4 harm is how a character can die as well. If that's coming
Mhm.
at you and you want to roll resistance to not die right now, live to die another day, um, at that point you would take all of the pips that you have in your attributes. So the attributes, I just said them: insight.
Resolve and prowess.
There we go. You're gonna take all the pips you have in insight, resolve, and prowess, and roll them.
Mhm.
Uh, the highest number that you get, you take 6 stress minus that amount that you rolled on your die instead of taking
Mhm.
harm, or you downgrade the harm essentially.
Yeah.
So that's a way to live to see another day. As maybe you're not done with your scoundrel yet. Maybe they've got another fight in them.
Maybe. Maybe. You never know.
You never
It could
know.
be the end of them.
Well, I mean, there's only one way to find out. You gotta play the game.
Play the game.
You gotta play
Play
the
the
game.
play the game. Okay.
That's
Um,
actually the mantra for a rough start. You gotta play the
play
game.
the game. I love that's dope. That's dope. You gotta play the game.
That's it. We've done it. We found it. Armor can also reduce harm if you
Mhm.
have that in your loadout for your score. We'll talk about loadout a little later. Um, oh, perfect segue. Hey, I just talked about stress, about taking stress instead of harm. AJ, what the hell is stress?
Stress is stress. It's anything on your player that causes them any type of wait, break. Gonna have to ask me a question again. I forgot. Wait, I forgot. It's anything on the player that like forces some type of like negative reaction, essentially, and then you could die from it. What is it?
It's so basically it's like narratively it's like mental stress, like and when you take too much stress, you can take a trauma.
Right.
Yeah.
And the
Um
trauma, too much trauma will lead to death.
Too much trauma leads to your character not being playable anymore. It could be death, it could be just they have to go to a
Can't
mental
be played
institution or they
anymore.
run away, yeah.
Stress is the stress on life. Okay, so the stress that the player is taking, too much stress that a player is taking. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'll fake it.
Okay.
That's what. I just know stress is bad. That's what I knew.
That's not, you can
Stress is
say
bad.
that for
I
sure.
will say that. Okay, ask me again.
All right, we're AJ, what the heck is stress?
Stress. Um, stress is bad. Essentially, stress is consider stress the negative effects that your character has to a certain reaction or actions that are taken in the game. So, my character, you will see, take some stress. Um, as you work with your team, you kind of think of it like increasing your own personal pressures, trying to complete whatever task it is that you have. And as you work together, as we talked about earlier, you gain stress points for help giving your team member another die, or you gain stress points for sometimes you could fail at certain things and it can cause a negative reaction to occur. And so part of your consequence might be your GM saying, okay, you take a stress in this moment. And after you build up a certain number of stress, it's going to lead you to a trauma, and then if you build up too much trauma, then your player's done. They could die or they could just be unplayable. So stress stress is good and bad. There are ways to alleviate
Yeah.
stress, but You can find that out. The
We'll
game.
get
This
to
is
that
just a
later.
rough start.
Like, that's the
It's a lot.
fun part later. Yeah, I mean, that was perfect. Stress is a resource that you can use, but using too much of it can have bad side effects where you can become traumatized. Uh, and we don't want that. We don't want that for our characters.
Not at all. Uh,
Yes.
the best part, like you said it was a resource, and I'm remembering in our game, you were willing, like our party was willing to pass that stress around. um, yeah, it's a good
It's useful.
resource, but it's a scary resource.
It is scary, but I mean, like, sometimes the benefits outweigh the cost, where you can help a teammate
That's
with
true.
stress, you can push yourself with stress, you can trigger a flashback with stress, which we'll get to flashbacks later.
Yeah,
So it's very useful, but then you take a trauma if you take too much stress.
I'm not having a flashback to the game. Everything's good. Everything's great. You can just watch the
Uh,
game to
what
find
have
out.
you seen, AJ? What have you
They
experienced?
have to watch the game.
All right. Well, everything we've been talking up has been building up to the heist itself that the game is built around. The modes of play. If we want to hit that next slide, hell yeah. Um, the game is split into kind of three parts. You've got free play, the score, and downtime after the score. Um, so free play is exactly that. It's if you like role playing, free play, that's what it is.
Conversations with your NPC, conversations with your teammates, conversations with, or rather, interactions with things around you. It essentially is the heist itself or the challenge itself. It's the thing that you're trying to do. It is literally free, and that's really good. Like when I love D&D. Okay, I am not here to downgrade D&D in any way, form, or fashion. But there are limitations to D&D. Some individuals prefer more combat. Some individuals are not role play central. Blades forces you to push into your role play. Um, and in doing so, you you experience an entirely different game. You're not bound by the ideas of what a rogue can do or what a bard can do. You're not bound by that. Your only thing you are bound by is your imagination and the special attributes that your character has. And so you have that opportunity literally to be free and play the character that you have created. And that's very different. That creates such a different game. It's a beautiful experience when you and other people who enjoy playing their character get to play that character in a
For
free
sure.
place. And nobody's telling you can't do this because you don't have enough spells and you don't have enough this. Like, you don't have to worry about that in this game. Like, it's either you're gonna roll for that difficulty and you do it, or you don't. And it's great. It is free.
Love
It's
that. Free
definitely
play.
free.
And that's okay. You can love D&D. I'll be the designated D&D hater for the stream. So
Perfect. I love it.
yeah,
Oh,
two sides of the same coin. We both love TTRPGs.
facts.
Yeah, I mean the free play is exactly that, free. You can also research what your next score is going to be during free play. And then when you're ready to pick your next target, you roll what's called the engagement roll. Essentially, this is another XD6 roll to see what your footing is like when you start the heist.
Hmm.
So, based on certain factors, like if you've done your research, if you have an ally, you get additional dice, or if there are certain aspects where you could get negative dice as well. And once you make that roll, you're either the heist, we almost start in media res for the heist. So either it's you've done the first thing of the heist and it's gone well, or you've tried to do the first thing of the heist and hasn't gone well and you're in a desperate position instead. So going back to,
Mhm.
you know, positions, it's a desperate position if you
Right.
fail the engagement roll.
Right.
Which I love. I think it's great that you just start with the action immediately. There's no planning in Blades. You do a little
Mhm.
bit of research maybe. You like there the advice for the GM in the book is literally like don't let them plan.
Yep.
Don't overplan.
Nope. That's not what happened at all. We just started playing. That conversation went on for some time, and we just went for it. Like,
You
we
gotta
just went
yeah,
for it.
you just gotta go for it. And that engagement roll is gonna tell you because if you plan, that plan could be useless because the engagement roll could just knock you off your feet right away.
Yep. Absolutely.
But instead of planning, what you can do is flashbacks in the score. Did you guys do a lot of flashbacks? I love
Not
flashbacks. I
really.
hope you did a lot of
Not
flashbacks.
really,
Oh,
no.
oh.
The only thing we did a small flashback when it came to weapons or, like, what we had or things like that, but
Mhm.
nothing as cool as, like, "Remember back in that time and 2 years ago when we made the decision?" Like, we didn't do those types of
I
flashbacks.
planted a bomb that would explode in exactly
Right.
3 months.
This
Yeah.
moment, right here. Like, nah, we didn't do that. Sorry, there's your only spoiler for the game.
It still works. Yeah, flashbacks are something you can pay stress for, like we said. Sometimes it comes with another action roll that you need to make too, if it was like a particularly difficult thing that you did in your flashback. This is like the example I always use. If you walk up to a guard and you're like, I have clearance to be here, and you show them forged papers, you can flash back to your forged papers and see how good of a job you did. Uh, The important thing about flashbacks is you can't undo something that's already happened in the fiction. So if you walk up to those guards and they say, "Hey, what are you doing here?" You can flash back to be like, "Well, see, I have my papers." But you can't flash back to be like, "Well, I killed those guards 2 weeks ago and they're not there
Right.
anymore."
That's just
I
cheating.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to cheat.
Right.
Yeah, the flashbacks, if you've ever watched Leverage, the flashbacks are very very leverage-esque.
I've never seen that show. Is it a show or is
It's
it a movie?
it's a show. It's a like a heist
Okay,
show.
good. I was about to say, like, "Oh, no, I definitely have not seen it." It was a movie. Oh, but no, I have never seen.
It's good, and Blades takes a lot of inspiration from Leverage. There's also a Leverage RPG, funnily enough.
Maybe that should be another episode.
Ooh,
Think about that, Charlotte.
oh,
Think about
maybe
that.
we'll have you back. I'll make you watch all of Leverage, and then we'll do the
Oh
Leverage
my god,
RPG.
no. No.
Ah, um, I don't fucking remember what teamwork I wrote in the notes. What does that mean? Um,
But there's teamwork in getting the
there's
score, what it is
teamwork
that
in
you
this.
want. Meh.
Oh, I remember. Because there's different things. You can set up, you can assist, and you can lead a group action.
Great,
Yeah,
I believe you.
yes. I think that's true. I don't know what setting up an action does.
There's a score, and
Yeah.
in that score, there's teamwork involved.
Got it in
That's
one.
the score.
Got it in one. Let's do a slightly cleaner version of that.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna clap.
So, then there's the score. Uh, the s the score is where you're trying to get. You work together as a team, and you make it happen. That's the score. There are various, actions that you could take to make that happen, and yeah, that's that's essentially it.
And that's
There's a
that. That's
lot
all she
more
wrote,
to it.
folks.
Yeah, there's more stuff to it, but this is a rough start. Overwhelming you
Yeah.
would not be necessary
Yeah,
right
we're not
now.
gonna get too into the weeds because as we said, Blades in the Dark has a lot of mechanics, a lot of moving parts. We're doing a
Mhm.
super brief overview of the ones that you kind of need to get started.
Right.
But the score is kind of the integral part of the game. You work as a team to get everything done. You can flash back to kind of help yourself out. You do all those action rolls, and then afterwards is downtime. And this is where my moment as the D&D hater comes in. Unlike downtime in D&D, downtime in Blades in the Dark is good and does stuff that you want to do.
Yes. There's an entire time set aside for downtime. Yeah.
Yes, an entire time. Um, it's you can do a lot of different stuff in downtime, including free play. But there are certain activities that you get two downtime activities to do during your
Mhm.
downtime. You can acquire an asset. You can start a long-term project.
Mhm.
You can recover from harm, which if you want your scoundrel to keep on being a scoundrel, might be helpful.
Mhm.
Um, You can reduce heat, and heat is basically any trouble you got in during your score. Maybe the law caught wind of what you were doing. You can get
Yep.
rid of that heat during your downtime. You can train yourself to become better, and you can also indulge your vice, which I think is the last big mechanic thing we'll get into. Uh, what was your character's vice, if you want to say?
Wow.
If you remember, I know it was a while. You recorded it.
No, it was luxury. Um,
Ooh,
it was a part of her alias. Her alias was Luxie.
I love
So
that.
yeah, everything she did, her vice was that. She didn't do that during her downtime though. She did something else. Um, we'll focus on something else. She also lowered a few things. Um, but yeah, it's an option. This is weird. See, this is gonna go. No, no, I'm gonna save it for character creation.
All right, we're gonna
I'm
put
gonna
a pin
save
in
it.
that.
I'm gonna put a pin
Yeah,
in
the
it. But yeah,
luxury
mine
as a
was
vice.
luxury. Yes,
That's awesome. Yeah, the vice is your scoundrel's coping mechanic, basically, for all that stress that they acquired on the score. You can
absolutely,
indulge your vice and get rid of some of that stress. But the vice is, an obsession and addiction, so it comes with its own risks as well. So you want to be careful
absolutely,
when you indulge vice.
absolutely,
It can be a slippery slope.
absolutely. It's fun though. Okay, I'm.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I've definitely had characters, overindulge their vice and like go off on a bender for a week and just disappear,
Yay.
and the other
Yep.
characters be like, "Where did they go?"
They'll be back for the next score.
Yeah. Or sometimes you make a backup character if your main
Yeah,
character is still off somewhere,
true.
uh, in a
Very true.
gutter, if they're alive.
They're still asleep.
Just taking a little nap.
Ew.
Yeah. The last thing we'll touch on for downtime, just real quick, is kind of a hint of there being more to this game than meets the eye. There are also entanglements that you can roll for during your downtime. These are things in your characters' personal lives that come to bear. There's heat, like we said, which is heat from the law that you don't want,
Mhm.
and you can acquire heat and wanted levels so much that your character might even have to go to prison,
Yep.
and that is a whole other part of the game that we're not going to talk about.
Man, yeah. Downtime for those who like want to run a campaign of Blaze in the Dark. Downtime is a good place to like set an endpoint. So like after you go through your downtime, you like set a good endpoint. You can also start up with with downtime. Um, yeah. Downtime
Absolutely.
adds that opportunity for person to person or like player to player role play. As well, if your GM allows that during that time, always pay homage to your GM. They are the individuals who are helping you out. Tell the story. They're not your enemy. They just want to help. Um, and then yeah, it's a place where you can. We already said you can establish allies. You can recruit their allies during this time. You can fix up certain things. You we said you can, yeah, you can indulge vices, you can take just some naps, really do some of your own stress. You can also just work towards your own hideout as well. It's just those opportunities to like benefit from your score, essentially.
Yes. Absolutely. All right. And with that, I think we will take a quick break before we jump into who the characters are and who the crew is. The last little bit of
Boom.
our rough start.
All right.
All
See you in a
right.
minute.
See you in a
Mm,
minute.
mm, mm.
A kingdom at the precipice of revolution, a festival in the shadow of a magnificent castle. Citizens gather to celebrate the unity of magic and nature. But one hides in the shadows, waiting to claim his rightful place as Godvane.
What is it about role-playing games that draw us in? Is it the roaming monsters that populate the world? Is it the quests we are urged to embark on, the stories we get to tell? Or is it the prospect of slaying dragons, creating characters and making them feel so real they come alive? Perhaps it's the dice clattering across the table, your fate tied to that of a number. For some, it may be sitting next to friends, both old and new. Maybe it's all of it. The monsters, the stories, the imagination, the friends. Or maybe none. But whatever brings you to the table, we at Rough Magic have enjoyed our time at Fan Expo Chicago 2023, and we hope to see you next year.
All right, now that we've had that little break, we're going to jump back into it. Once again, we are talking about Blades in the Dark. I am Charlotte Elena. I use she, her pronouns. I am a rough magic GM. And with me, I have AJ McLean, who is also a GM with Rough Magic. And we are attempting to teach you guys Blades in the Dark tonight. The last couple of bits we're going to touch on tonight are character and crew creation. Um, so, for character creation, this is a game system that utilizes playbooks, much like Powered by the Apocalypse games. And we've got quite a few as our options here. We've got the Cutter. They're good at winning fights with violence or with intimidation. Play a Cutter if you want to get your way. Next, we've got the Hound. I played a Hound in my home game, and it was a lot of fun. Hounds are good at tracking things down and also long distance combat. Play a Hound if you want to choose your battles. The Leech. Leeches are good at using alchemy and wrecking stuff with sabotage. Play a Leech if you want to be creative with weird tools. Next up is the Lurk. Lurks are good at sneaking around and breaking into places. Play a Lurk if you want to slink around in the shadows, kind of your classic rogue. The Slide are good at social situations and subterfuge. Play a Slide if you want to manipulate and deceive people. Uh, the Spider, which AJ played in the game that you will see coming soon on the channel, they are mastermind maneuverers. Play a Spider if you want to assist teammates and deal with other factions. Lastly, we've got the Whisper. They're kind of the odd one out. They're good at magical stuff and dealing with ghosts. So play a Whisper if you want to meddle with arcane powers. Ooh. Each playbook gets some special abilities as well, which we won't get too into. But AJ, what was playing your Spider like?
Awesome. I'm not necessarily one who goes for a charismatic player.
Mm,
Um, my favorite D&D class was Druid, and I like Monk. So these are not the individuals who are really doing the social encounters so much. So the playing a spider who's not only just charismatic, I guess you can say, but also has the ability to communicate in the underworld and kind of like weave these threads together to see like how these individuals are going to connect or how these individuals might interact kind of helped me work on like some tactician type of ideas in that moment,
yeah.
stretch some skills that I didn't know I had in me. um yeah, it was a very interesting experience. I really enjoyed it actually. I
I
really
feel that.
enjoyed.
I think I played a Spider like way back when for a one shot of Blades a long, long time ago, and I was definitely also out of my wheelhouse. But I remember having a lot of fun, kind of trying to push into that and be like, a devious mastermind. I don't know. It's fun, a little
Right,
devious sometimes.
right, and it's the fact that you're playing like a scoundrel.
Yeah.
So, like, you have to put yourself in the head of, like, "I am not the hero. I am not the hero." Like, when you put yourself in that head, it's like you really kinda go and delve into this, like, villainous mentality, and it's really crazy to see, like, where your brain, your imagination can actually take you and, like yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really like the scoundrel concept
Yeah,
of this
you don't
game.
have
It
to play a
creates it.
good person.
At all. To be good at all.
What
I
a what
love
a
it.
wild concept.
Who would have thought? They thought.
Love that. Amazing. Next, we're going to touch on the crew. So, as scoundrels making your way in this harsh world of Duskwall, um, you are part of a crew. You're all working together, and a fun bit of the game is that your crew actually also has a character sheet. Um, So there are a few different crew types you can choose: assassins, bravos, cult, hawkers, shadows, and smugglers. Assassins are killers for hire. They execute accidents, disappearances, murders, etc., etc. Bravos are mercenaries and thugs. Um, they extort, they sabotage, they smash and grab. The cult is one I've always wanted to play but haven't gotten a chance to. They're acolytes of a forgotten god. They execute, artifact acquisitions. They consecrate. They sacrifice. They sound like a lot of fun, and I want to play one. So put me in your Blades game, someone, where we can be a cult.
Found
Hawkers
the
are.
one we played. I'm sorry, I found it.
Oh, you
We
found it. What
were,
what crew were you?
yeah, we were assassins.
Ooh, assassins,
We were assassins.
assassini. All right. Well, we'll talk about assassins a little
Dang.
bit more if you remember any bit from the
Oh no,
game.
now I regret it. Take this out of the recording. We're not assassins. Actually, we were a cult. We were a cult. Oh, we were a cult. We were a cult. I remember. No, I have it. I'm actually found it. We were a cult. That's why I'm like, yes, we were a cult. You will see.
We got to keep this in the stream because I want to be in a cult so bad. I wish you put me in your cult.
I was an evangelist, so
Oh God, that sounds
it's like
amazing.
a spoiler. You only get 3.
Ugh,
This is almost over.
there's only three. We don't have much time left. Uh, Uh, yeah, the last three, hawkers are vice dealers, so they procure items, they have covert sales, all that jazz. Shadows are thieves and spies. They burglarize, they espionage, and they rob. Smugglers, which I believe my home game we were smugglers.
Mm,
They transport contraband. They
nice.
have clandestine deliveries. They control a lot of territory, which we did not talk about at all. But that's okay because that's advanced stuff. This is a rough start. And they can take expeditions outside the city as well. So outside the city is very dangerous, but sometimes there is adventure out there and some ill-gotten goods to be had. So it might be worth going past the lightning barrier every once in a while. So you were a cult. That's so cool.
I can't even give it away because yes, everything related to cult is it happens in the game. It's so strategic too. It's so cool how it plays out. I like the way that this individual is formed. It's pretty dope. Dare I s- dare I say it? It's just the power of the mind, like the power of collaborative storytelling. Like
Mhm.
what you can come up with. And like the benefit of creating the crew the way our GM did it, which I'm pretty sure is how it's done in Blaze in the Dark, is that you're creating this crew after this first free play. So like after you've done all of this fun, you've had all this opportunity, you're still like creating. You're taking an opportunity to delve deeper into like, okay, now that we have this result, what are we producing from that? Like what's gonna happen from that? And that conversation is still happening. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't give that
It's
spoiler away. I'm not
it's the
doing
first
it.
thing we talked about, the conversation. It's
Yes,
coming back around. We made it to
we
the
made
other
it.
end with the conversation.
You have to watch the stream. Just
We
watch the
cannot stress this
stream.
enough.
I know it's
Are
extra
you
because I'm in
hypnotizing
it
the
and I can
audience
be
right
like,
now?
oh, the stream because I'm in it. Just watch it. I promise you, it's a very great understanding of individuals playing the game for what it
Mm.
is. And that's so different. It's such a different game and it's so rewarding. It makes you want to play again and again and again.
You
So
already want to play again and again and again.
I
I'm
I do.
already sold.
I'm glad. I'm really glad because I like this game.
Ah. All right. I think we're going to touch on one last thing before we wrap up, which is I mean, dare I say the most innovative rule in Blades in the Dark? Not to say that other games haven't done this, but the clocks that Blades in the Dark use
Mhm.
are a mechanic that I think everyone should use in every game. I think they're great. There are portions of a clock. You know, you draw a little pie, and depending on what task is done at the end of that clock, you can have, 4, 6, 8 tick marks. Um, and something happens when you fill out all those tick marks in the clock. It's so simple, and I love it. Blades utilizes it in terms of danger. So maybe you're in the middle of a score and the tower you're climbing is about to explode. Well, okay, you've got a danger clock with 4 portions in it. And when those 4 portions are filled out, the tower explodes. And where you are when that happens is up to you.
Oh man, this is a thing that like I hate to admit I didn't know anything about. And so now like understanding that it makes sense. Like the danger that we ended up being in makes sense.
Yes.
Wow.
I was in a game
Ah,
recently where the danger clock was also a literal clock, where we heard the bell strike for the hour, and we were like, "Oh no, another portion's filled on the
oh
clock. We
my
don't have time."
gosh.
Yeah,
That's so intense. Like the amount of tension that you have in that. Oh,
yeah,
Nope, my
yeah.
blood pressure would have went up. No, absolutely not. No,
It was a lot of fun.
I
Uh,
imagine. I can
yeah.
imagine.
Other things you use clocks for in Blades, if you have a long-term project in your downtime, which we talked
Mhm.
about, you'd have a clock, and you'd
Yeah.
fill out certain amounts of the clock based on the roll that you make. Healing is also a clock, fun fact. So, yeah, I love clocks. I think everyone should use them. They are such a simple yet effective tool.
Yeah.
And we would be remiss if we didn't bring up clocks when we talked about Blades in the Dark. If you're running this game, use them. Use them effectively.
Effectively, not haphazardly.
I mean, or honestly, haphazardly too. Why not? Just use
Guess
them.
it would work in this game. I guess there would yeah, there's no such thing as, like, chaos or law. It just is.
Oh, we're getting deep with AJ right now. There's no such
Don't.
thing as chaos or law. It just is. It just is.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's real, like, 'cause you're not bound by that. You're not a
Yeah, I
human.
mean, previously mentioned we're scoundrels.
Oh, wow.
Not bound by it.
I'm no idea of that. That's crazy. Okay, okay, I've had
Amazing.
my deep thought for so
Perfect.
I've had my deep thought
Um,
for
yeah, if you are interested in running Blades in the Dark, I cannot recommend reading the book enough. There is a lot of information in the book, a lot of helpful stuff in there. So if you want to run Blades, um, buy a copy of the book, or very helpfully, the system reference document is free online. So all of the core rules they have on their website for you to
Yep,
peruse at your leisure, which
absolutely,
rocks. All right. Well,
absolutely.
hopefully we've swayed some minds to try out Blades. Hopefully we've provided some insight on how the rules work. I guess we'll see. Let us know in in the comments if we did a good job or not. Don't say that actually. Please don't tell us if we didn't do a good job.
It's fine. I'm a teacher. I'm pretty sure children have called me worse. I've said worse to
AJ can handle it, but I can't handle it. So, direct all your comments and criticisms toward AJ.
please, please. It'll help the channel.
No, everyone be nice. Um,
No,
yes,
niceness
thank
is
you.
always preferred. Yeah.
Absolutely. Anything else you'd like to add at the very end of our stream, AJ?
You know, Blaze in the Dark, as I said in the beginning, is a storytelling game like all tabletop RPGs. It is a story of scoundrels. It is a story of individuals who are flawed, and their flaws get to be on display. If you like any of the Oceans series, this is the game for you. Uh,
Yes.
you you love it. This is your game. If you want to play a rogue, but you don't feel like you get enough opportunity to be that rogue in a group, play with a bunch of rogues. Play blankets. Essentially,
Nothing but
play
rogues.
nothing essentially but rogues, and have fun. It's essentially this is a role playing game. So have fun. Play the role that you have.
There
You
you
know,
go.
at the end of the day, we all do this for a reason. Some of us do it for escape. Some of us do it for opportunities for fun. Some of us do it for opportunities to learn or understand better parts of ourselves if you're on the therapeutic aspect of this. Regardless of the reason you're doing it, do it. Put all of your effort into it and have fun. You only get one shot at it. So,
I agree with that wholeheartedly. And what a lovely note to end our stream on. Once again, I have been Charlotte Elena. This has been Rough Start. Thank you so much to AJ for joining me tonight.
no problem.
If
I
this,
enjoyed myself.
yay, so glad I had a fun time. Don't forget to check out the stream of Blaze in the Dark, which, according to the higher ups, I believe premieres on September 29th.
Oh my God!
Um, yeah. So either I hopefully this is coming out before that so you can say go check it out. If it's already come out, check out the VOD. I'm sure it's a wonderful time. I cannot wait to watch it. Um yeah, next up, our next episode, we are going to be talking about a game that has yet to be published actually, written by Rough Magic's own Mike Danovich. We are going to be talking about
Hey,
Cascade. Yeah, so
let's go!
join me then for that. Thank you again, AJ. Feel free to plug any of your socials at the very end of the show here.
All down there, AJ and
All down
stories. I try
there.
to keep my life simple.
Good, as it should be. All right. All right. Thank you so much again. And thank you, anyone out there who's watching right now. Feel free to check out roughmagicgames.com for more information or our Patreon if you feel so moved to support us. Everything will be in the description regarding that. So thank you all and have a wonderful night.